What is up, everyone? Guys, listen up. In this video, I want to talk about the one and only Railgun. And as I'm going over this topic, I would absolutely love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. So let's not waste time and get right into it. First, when the game launched, the Railgun was literally one of the most powerful tools in the game, or should I say the most powerful tool in the game. Like overall, it did everything really well, but I don't feel like that alone was the reason why it got nerfed. We all know that on PlayStation, for some reason, it was dealing way more damage than it was in PC lobbies, as most people were saying. For me personally, even when I was playing solo, it was still doing that. And when I was in a PC hosted lobby, it would still deal tons of more damage. But in general, the point was, as soon as you would play with a PlayStation 5 player, you would notice that they were dealing way more damage, to the point that you can two-shot or sometimes one-shot Bile Titans with a well-placed shot with the Railgun, which is crazy, right? I don't think that was meant to be in general. I don't think that was intended from the beginning, and I understand that they would want to fix that. Now, fast forward a little bit, and they did fix that issue, but on top of that, they kind of completely made the Railgun useless, to the point that there's no reason running it. There's just so many other support weapons that were better than the Railgun after that initial nerf to the gun, that nobody was running it anymore. And it was kind of sad, because the weapon is a lot of fun and it gives you the opportunity to play the game in a style that no other support weapon does. And it was a great time. It really was. Now let's talk about the latest update that just dropped, where they did buff the Railgun. I was very excited about this, and I'm not gonna lie, I tested this for hours and hours, and it feels way better than it was. Way better. We're talking, you can destroy chargers, 2 shots to the leg, and then take them out with a primary weapon. You can 3-tap them to the head, as long as your charges are around approximately 70%. But the biggest problem still remains, guys. It is completely useless against Bile Titans. And yes, in combination with EAT or Quasar, if you hit him with one of those first and then use the Railgun, you can take out Bile Titans a little bit more efficiently. We're talking around 5 to 10 shots, but on its own, the weapon just doesn't feel viable. And let me tell you why that is. As mentioned, there's just a bunch of stratagems in the game that do what this one does, but better. Let's talk about the charges, for example. And yes, the Quasar got a 5-second nerf, and still, it's going to be 10 times better than the Railgun. And the reason for that is simple. It will always one-shot the charger as long as you're landing the headshot, and it has infinite ammo. And on top of that, for example, it is great for Bile Titans as well. Literally one of the best tools in the game to annihilate Bile Titans. You also have the flamethrower, which doesn't even care about the chargers at this point. It absolutely annihilates them. I will say, though, that the Railgun is really effective against the Hulks. But another reason that it's not gonna catch up to the Quasar, for example, is because the Quasar will also destroy dropships, gunships, turrets, whatever it is in front of you. The Quasar will get the job done. Meanwhile, you have to pick up a Railgun, which can deal with Hulks pretty efficiently, but all of those other things that I just listed, you can't really do anything to them. So it stays behind all of these weapons. And yes, some people will say, yeah, but flamethrower is also useless against the automatons, right? But Railgun is not one of those weapons that is supposed to be good on one side. Railgun is supposed to be good across the board. Now, I'm not saying overpowered, but it should have its utility, to the point that, you know what? I don't want to run Quasar today. I'm just going to pick up the Railgun. And in the future, we're getting more rocket launchers and everything. And that is going to make it even less interesting, because simply those things are going to do everything that the Railgun does, but better. So what kind of change do they have to make? Now, I'm just going to share my opinions, and once again, I would love to hear yours. I'm not asking for anything crazy. I'm not asking for it to be overpowered. I'm just asking for it to have the ability to deal damage that makes sense to run it when it comes to stronger targets, dropships, gunships. And once again, I'm not asking for one-shotting them. I understand that the Railgun shouldn't be one-shotting gunships or dropships or Bile Titans. I get it. But at least slap in a skill gap there, where if I'm charging my Railgun at 90%, I can take out a Bile Titan in like 5 or 7 shots, and we need to find some number for the gunships and dropships as well. And I think the word skill gap is the key to make this weapon viable and powerful and not overpowered at the same time. Like if you make it to the point that there's a high risk but high reward, it's a great weapon. It really is. But right now, even if I charge my weapon at 90% and go for the Bile Titan, which we have tested non-stop, it just doesn't feel viable. I'm wasting too much time, too much energy when I can be using something else and absolutely destroying Bile Titans. For example, if I hit a Bile Titan with a rail cannon shot and he doesn't die, I can literally take him out with a plasma shotgun or the eruptor or even the crossbow if you're landing the shots correctly. Now, that said, I do feel like the plasma shotgun is the best out of those, but that's not the point right now. I have a completely separate video about that, and I'm going to link that in the description below. That build is absolutely amazing. You should 100% check it out. But the Railgun does a way worse job at this than some primary weapons. I feel like it should be one of those weapons that feel really powerful, and I think adding a little bit more heavy armor penetration would be fine. It would not break the weapon. And instead of just kind of nerfing stuff in general, I would love to see some buffs, not just to the weapon, but I would love to see some new difficulties added, man. These difficulties would change everything. So think about it yourself. If you have a higher difficulty where you have a lot of enemies, maybe a few new enemy types in the Terminids or in the automatons as well that make the fights more complex, then you can have weapons a little bit more powerful because now the difficulty of the game requires items that are stronger. Does that make sense? And when I was discussing a skill gap, think about it yourself. Right now, for example, if you have a Hulk in front of you, if you hit him with safe mode, you can one-shot him if you hit him in the eye. So why would I need to use the unsafe mode? There's no skill gap there. I'm not saying that the safe mode shouldn't kill him, but I do feel like there should be more reward for unsafe mode. For example, let's move on to the charger example. I mentioned that you need 3 hits to the head at around 70% to take out the charger, right? And the reason I don't go to 90-95% is because it's not worth it. Once again, we've tested this for hours and hours. Even if you go to 90-95%, you will not be able to 2-shot to the head. So it's kind of the same. So there's no reward for that extra 20 to 25% in charge rate that I'm risking, because if I overheat it, the weapon explodes and it kills you, right? But there's no reward for it. There's no reason for it. And that's what's hurting the weapon. It should deal more damage the higher the charge goes. It's a very simple concept. This would also work for the Bile Titans as well. And yes, you will have some players say, yeah, if you charge it exactly at 96.4%, it's gonna work. But that's inconsistent, guys. It is. And also, you got to take into account sometimes it could be a little bit laggy, it could be delayed, because a lot of the times when I'm charging the weapon and I'm looking at that screen, it's not full yet, it's not even close to 100%, but the weapon explodes. I'm around 92, 93 sometimes, and the weapon just goes off and I'm dead. This has to be adjusted a little bit to the point where, as the charge is going up, the damage is also increasing, once again, to the point where it's worth to take the risk. As soon as they do this, the Railgun is going to be a fun weapon, a powerful weapon, and it's not going to be overpowered. And on top of that, let's be honest, your friends are going to be running it, and sometimes they're going to mess up and boom, they're gone. It's funny, okay? It's going to be fun. And honestly, they've been looking at the ammo economy non-stop anyway, right? So I'd rather have them cut the ammo on the Railgun at this point and do all of those things that I mentioned so that it's actually viable in terms of damage against the bigger targets, and have maybe like 15 shots or 12 shots. At least this way, we're going to know that we have 12 or 15 shots of a powerful weapon, instead of having more but shooting all of it at one single Bile Titan and literally nothing happens. It feels like you're tickling the guy. And no, the reason for me wanting this buff isn't for it to be overpowered. Once again, I just feel like the weapon is fun to use, man. It has a very unique style to it that no other support weapon really provides. And it's sad that it's changed to the point that nobody's running it. And it will be cool to see all of these little changes. That's going to be it. I just wanted to share my opinions on the weapon because I absolutely miss this weapon. Once again, Would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you for all the love and support you guys been showing. It has been an incredible journey in the Helldivers 2 community. Thank you for everything from the bottom of my heart. As always, stay positive, stay disciplined, and I'll see you on the next one.
Let's go! Let's go, baby! Let's go!
I mean, we literally have the best community of all time. Oh! Oh, we got no scoped.